44 years later, and South African youth are still at the forefront of change. In honor of the 1976 Soweto uprising, we bring you stories of young people who are key players in business. They give a whole new meaning to the saying that every change you want to see in your life begins with you. Welcome to Stories Untold. My name is Pule Molebatsi. Today, we get up close and personal with young CEOs of different companies. We begin our show today with the story of Naledi Muthapo, who is an advocate as well as an owner of a beauty shop. Let's have a look at her story. Just in case you can't find this young, driven advocate at this law firm, you can be sure to find her here. As an owner of this beauty shop, Naledi Muthapo had to learn fast to balance the two worlds. At the age of 30, Naledi belongs to a top advocate association in Johannesburg. On her 8th year in the law firm, Naledi decided to add businesswoman to her resume.
I started practicing when I was 22. So I did my articles when I was 21, and I was admitted when I was 22. At some point when I was an attorney and worked with a few advocates, I always found it so fascinating and just how great they were with the articulation and understanding of the law. You know, I mean, of course, as an attorney, I understood the law, but they just had a higher degree, you know. And I just thought, listen, I belong at the bar, you know. So it was a dream from that time on. So 2014, I joined the bar. You know, when I started, I had one of my senior colleagues give me very great advice. He said to me, you know, it's a very unstable place. You never know what could happen. So just make sure that when you make money, put away enough to at least cover you for 6 months if anything happens, you know. So I did that, took the advice, did that. And a couple of years down the line, found myself with some money, and I thought, hey, these are my awesome savings that I'm putting away for my 6-month salary. But I want to be in business. You know, when I go into business and it's proving a bit difficult to get funding, so I'm going to use my savings. So I used all my savings towards making my dream of being an entrepreneur in the beauty industry work.
Her beauty shop in Rivonia has taken off since, and she oversees the day-to-day running of it.
Although I have quite a great support structure, a great team that I work with here, I oversee everything. So I have technicians, beauty therapists, and I have a host, but I am the manager. So the day-to-day running, yes, I'm very much involved in that.
But where do you get the time?
So there isn't time, you make time. I guess everybody makes time for the stuff that makes their heart, that sets their hearts on fire, you know. And that's me. This is one of those things that really sets my heart on fire. And so on any given day, I make time for my salons, you know. So the great thing with this and my other job, being an advocate, is that in both industries, I sort of own my time. You know, so I'm able to properly divide myself between being an owner of a beauty salon and also being an advocate and running that practice. It is true that if you're going to run it, you've got to know it. So what I did after I bought the license to franchise, I went for training, for nail training. So I took up a nail course. I had never touched a nail brush in my life. So it was quite a hard one. You know, it was very different from reading files and speaking to judges. Quite a challenge, but I quite enjoyed it, and I absolutely love it right now. It's very therapeutic for me.
It's not always therapy for Naledi, as this business comes with managing personnel, which is quite different from her work as an advocate.
The biggest challenge, I tell you what, is staff, actually. I think I've just come here and I've learned that, shucks, man, it's quite a different world, you know. And really coming in and managing personalities has been quite a challenge for me. But as I say, it's been quite a blessing that I've had an amazing staff. I've really been blessed with amazing people, you know. And what I've also done really to minimize that stress at least stress on that front. What I've done is hired people on personalities. So I've always hired people that I get along with.
Although challenging at times, Naledi's brother is quite confident that she is made for both worlds.
I was quite comfortable with her being a lawyer. Yeah, or in fact, I thought she would actually, take a different field. But she went to law school, and we were very supportive to her, being a lawyer. And when she started opening the business, it was the thing that, look, are you living this profession that is so real, so safe, and you venturing in something that is not safe, that is, where you don't know what is actually going to happen. But we are very supportive. We are very supportive. We know that she has tried something before, and with the energy and the passion that she put into that, we knew that she's actually going to make it. Look, we're very excited. We're very pleased. I mean, the least she could do was just to become a good lawyer, but I think she surpassed that, and it's very pleasing. We're very proud of her, and I know for a fact with the way she has conducted herself that this business is going to grow.
Working as an advocate didn't only fund Naledi's first business, it also gave her an advantage when it comes to negotiating business deals.
Definitely, I've been able to use my skill as a lawyer in the business, in the beauty industry. As a lawyer, I'm trained to see things that other people can't see. You can't give me a bad deal. You can't cheat me, because I'll read my own contract. I know what's going on in my contract. I know how this thing is going to pan out. When we're asking things, I'm always able to see when the dots don't connect.
Drive and commitment has certainly made it possible for this young businesswoman, proving that it can be done when you put effort behind it. So hashtag, what are you waiting for? From one empowered youth to another, when we come back from the ad break, we talk the highs and lows of business with serial entrepreneur Teboho Mafodi. Let's take a break. Welcome back. You are still watching Stories Untold. Today we are celebrating empowered youth of South Africa. Right now we speak to serial entrepreneur Teboho Mafodi about how he had to learn the hard way about entrepreneurship. Right now though, he is a successful businessman with a reputable construction company. Let's have a look. He is referred to as a serial entrepreneur by his peers and the media. Teboho Mafodi often shares a story of how he made his first million in business, lost all the capital and the business. But what stands out about his story as an entrepreneur is how he rose from all the times he failed. Today, Teboho runs a multi-million construction company, TM Group.
I'm regarded as serial. I'm saying regarded in inverted commas, because I'm into more than one business. So, a serial entrepreneur is a person that jumps to opportunities. I always say entrepreneurship are those that see opportunities where others don't. I'm a property investor and I'm a media practitioner in terms of radio and television. My interest in business started when I was in high school. In fact, way before I was in high school. I think it actually started when I was growing up, because my grandfather was an entrepreneurial individual. At some point, the situation was so bad that I needed to go stay with him and live out of his pension money. So to complement for some of his pension money that was not enough, he would sell cold drinks and sweets.
From a young age, Teboho was already showing qualities of being a self-starter.
When we were younger, I didn't pick up the entrepreneurial spirit, but I picked up a sense of leadership. He's always had that. The go-getter spirit. I think when we were young, we didn't understand what entrepreneurship was, but he was always a leader. He was always a go-getter.
I'm a self-taught IT guru from the comfort of my bedroom. I started fixing people's computers while I was in high school, libraries and stuff. But I didn't actually finish school. I dropped out in grade 11, because my grandfather passed away and the situation was bad at home, so I had to go get a job. So now I had to evaluate school, work. School will always be there. I needed to go work. So, and I went to go work for an IT Johannesburg firm that, you know, gave me an opportunity. I remember at an interview they asked me, they started interviewing me. I couldn't know half of the things they were talking about. I remember I said, no, can I disturb you? I might not know what you're talking about, but give me a computer to put together, I'll put it together. And they gave me the opportunity and I did that. They were impressed, they decided to give me a job. So then I started working. So now during the day I'd be going to work, at night I'd be going to night school to go do my matric.
With few misfortunes in his life, Teboho also had a string of good fortunes too.
The late Mama Adelaide Tambo was developing development centers in the township alongside Department of Social Development. So they were developing a computer center in my township, Gowadville. So, and they gave me an opportunity to come be a trainer. And the former president had, or there's this guy called Teboho Mafodi in the township teaching and making this difference in the township. And the former president Thabo Mbeki said he wants to send me to school. Then they approached us through the Presidential National Commission and they sent me to school to TU2 to go study information communications technology. So it was actually the first time even working at varsity for that matter. So it was actually a glorious, you know, occasion, because even at my home there was no one that has been to varsity at that level, and there I was getting the opportunity.
Fresh from varsity and owning his first IT company, Teboho learned business rules the hard way.
I started in the digital industry. At the time, it was a very white dominant industry. And coming in as a black-owned and a young youth-owned business, it was a new thing. So we started creating some very exciting stuff. People are on social media now doing brands there. We're the one that trended brands on social media and they went digital and back in those days. So it was quite a good era to be running a business at that time. I think our business created so much hype that we got an offer for our business to be bought. So at the time, I think that we had gone through a challenge. I always say my second business at that time, I didn't know the difference between my money and the business money. Whatever money that came in used to be your money. You'd go shopping, driving all these cars, you know, popping bottles and stuff. Do you understand? So and we were forgetting to pay creditors. So and right now we're being taken up, you know, to court because people wanted their money. So now the easiest thing that we needed to raise capital. So then we sold the business when an opportunity arose, so that we're able to raise the capital to service those creditors. So it became an interesting journey because now you needed to sell. You were now known, or you know what? Now you've got so much millions onto your bank account. The next thing you wake up in the morning, there's minus couple of millions in your bank account. You go back kokasi. And you know, people in terms of, you know, do you understand? So that's why for me I think that's why I've learned to be tough, and so that you say, you know what, a measure of a man is not how many times you fall, but whenever you fall, how many times do you get up, dust yourself and try again.
Going from being his own boss to looking to work for a boss, Teboho had to remember why he fell in love with business in the first place.
I remember a week, I used to know on Wednesday get workplace, go the star, on Thursday get job mail, you know, and on Sunday I remember I used to send a minimum of about 20 CVs trying to get a job, and there was no job, none whatsoever. So I remember my friend at the time said to me, Horutudu, you're trying to get a job, what if maybe you need to try business again, you know, and that's where you meant for it. And I tried it again and it worked.
Now he owns his real estate business with a whole new respect for the rules of the business.
So I was always fascinated by buildings and stuff. So I took up a learnership program with City of Ekurhuleni to actually be a learnership and 1,002, you know, just for petrol to be able to go to school and back. You know, I remember at the time people gave up, so what am I going to do with 1,002? And this and that, but for me I looked at the bigger picture, because it's through that opportunity that I ended up doing big projects. I learned the skills, I learned the expertise, and yeah, I mean today we're doing inner city buildings, we're doing commercial projects, and we're doing property development even within the township scale, and we've gone to the level of taking it innovatively in terms of using alternative building technology, converting shipping containers into buildings and stuff, and even now going to the extent of now even establishing offices in the States to be able to raise capital to invest in Africa. So it's becoming an exciting journey.
Now, this key player in real estate and property development is proud to have made his mistakes in business, because life on the other side of those mistakes makes his success sweeter. Right now, we take a bit of a break, but when we come back from the ad break, we get up close and personal with female entrepreneur Refilwe Sibotoma. Welcome back to Stories Untold. Today we follow success stories of young entrepreneurs with the aim to inspire South African youth to start something in their own ways. Right now we give you the story of Refilwe Sibotoma. Let's have a look.
Refilwe Sibotoma from Marikana changed her label from teen mom to businesswoman when she started her company Buso Busamuso Creations in 2014 with no experience. She conceived the idea of making safety gear from her last job.
I was working for Lonmin Platinum Mine. That was the last 2 years of my life in the corporate world. And I think Lonmin being a mining house, they take safety quite seriously. At the time, I decided to leave and start my own business. And to be honest with you, I didn't know what I was going to do. But I think because I'm born and raised in Marikana, which is a mining town, and at the time I'm working for Lonmin Platinum Mine, the only sensible thing that I could do was probably to do something in mining or in safety, because that's what my environment was all about at the time.
With no experience of running a company, Refilwe had a lot to learn.
The kettle and package inside.
Yeah.
On the white ones with...
I then decided to start learning more about safety. Why is safety so crucial and why is it so important? That's when I came across things like Occupational Health and Safety Act, which is the act that actually addresses the issues of safety at a workplace. So yeah, I mean, I slept on Google. Everything that I know today as far as safety at a workplace is concerned, it is really being self-taught.
Having to learn things by herself was not easy.
Every profession, they've got their own jargons and the way of using words and how they use words. And I remember one client asked me for a D59 overall, so I learned to type extremely fast because I had to make sure every single time I need to respond to a client, I'm sitting on my Google and I'm typing and I'm writing everything that the client, would ask about. Then I would go and go in Google and find out what is a D59, why do they call it a D59, what does it do, which industries uses that, and why do they have to use that.
PBM grew wisdom by learning from those who traveled ahead of them.
Other thing that I did as well is that I identified bigger guys who were already in the industry, who had already traveled the road, and I would call them. So if a client is looking for something and I'm not sure where to get it or what is it, I would call them. In particular, there was a guy called Mr. Gora. He was one of the technical mentors that if I can refer him to that, who helped me to get this and that and to know where to get it and how to get it and why people use certain PPEs and certain specifications as well.
She also admits that she expected a whole lot more challenges.
But then you just need to make sure what it. One thing that really helped me and prepared me is that already I came into business with this negative perception of business is not easy. There's a lot of people who give up. There's a lot of people who have not made it and all that, So I think I came in the industry really knowing and expecting the worst hardships. And I think even when we got to hit some hard surfaces, it was like, yeah, they did tell me about it.
There are still some challenges that remain valid till date.
I think one of the biggest challenges, and I think it still remains a challenge today, is that my industry is very white male dominated, and the level to entry, it's quite rough as well. You don't just come into the industry and you are well accepted and received as well.
PBM clients include some of the big industry players.
Our product can be used throughout every single industry. Safety and environmental health, it's critical for every single industry. And the bigger plan is really to find ourselves being represented in every single industry, both in South Africa and the SADC countries as well. And right now we're not yet there, but some of our clients, we're looking at PPC cement factories, your Lafarge gypsum, your Mali building systems, Sims Payway, Monalebo Engineering Services, Figile Construction, Sipako Cement. Those are some of our clients, just to mention a few.
PPC buyer Morris Mukwena discovered PBM while searching for suppliers.
I did check it on the internet, and then I saw they are selling the PPE. And then from there, I get the contact number for Refilwe, and then I contacted her to get some code, and then we start to do business with them.
PBM Creations specializes in a specific range and quality of workmen's suits and accessories.
We decided to do premium quality, so very high quality of our products. And that in its own, it's a very dangerous value proposition for one to have, because it means you are speaking to a specific customer segmentation, and you're speaking to big businesses who are used to doing business with other big businesses. So if you come as a small fish and they want to give you tedious payment terms like 60 days payment, and you just started, So those are really some of the challenges. And I think if there's any way that I can say we've been able to overcome some of them, it's through communication and building relationships.
Being a black female, Refilwe sees it as no advantage to her business.
I always say that we are guilty until we prove ourselves innocent in business. Unfortunately, that's how it is. So you've got many other people who went before you and they messed up, and people try to help them and they messed up. So when you walk in the door, already you are painted with the same paint, and it is totally up to one person to change the status quo and to change the message to say, we are young, we're black, but we're determined and we want to do this and we want to prove you wrong.
And that brings us to the end of our Youth Month special, where we looked at 3 different successful CEOs. I hope wherever you are, whatever you are doing, you are inspired to start whatever it is that you are passionate about. From one South African youth to another, let's keep the fight going. Everything is possible when you believe. From myself and the rest of the Stories Untold team, Salasent.